Today I'm going to be making a fan. Not any old fan, but this fan that you see up on the screen as well. This is my portable fan that I use during the summertime in the vehicle that I use that has no AC. It's a small little compact device that moves a lot of air, used off of a vehicle. It's a car battery, and you can either use terminals or you can actually use a cigarette lighter port to actually power it. I've made it universal to switch in between the two. And as you can tell, it also has a power button, speed control, and also USB ports. Now, these are all optional items that you can have on the fan, but because of the popularity of the fan and also the one I carry around on me, usually everyone requests these options on there. So, I'm going to go ahead and be making one that actually has all those features on there. Here's some of the parts that we'll actually be using. Speed control, power button, waterproof electrical box, ports, a cable, the fan itself that it mounts onto, some wiring. We'll also be using crimps connectors such as the prongs and also circle ones to mounting inside the power box. And here are two of the options that you can actually have by having the end cut off and these installed at the end. Either if you have a setup that has prongs, you can actually use those, or you can just have a cigarette lighter and plug it in. The nice little feature about actually having that little plug at the very end is if the cable gets tugged, it won't mess up the device it's hooked up to. It'll just simply drop off and disconnect. And this is what it looks like strapped onto my backpack when I walk into the hub or my work. And that's one of the reasons why I like this little fan. It's very compact and very powerful to actually move air in situations where you would need a lot of current blowing in at you instead of just a regular fan that you can get from any old store or stop as well. This thing actually moves more than that. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and start 16 gauge wire. You can use anything thicker or anything smaller, possibly. Just don't go too small because it may not accept the current. So, first off, we got tint or coat our wires with solder. Nice and coated. Good blob there. And basically what you want to do is on the connector, once the solder starts to melt, make sure that the solder starts bonding with the metal that you're soldering with, like that right there. You also want to make it kind of solid, not really seeing the features of the cable. If you're doing that, maybe it might be a little bit too brittle. Alright, And we'll go ahead and go with the negative. Okay, hold it right there. Watch it solidify. Go. Okay, so we're back, and you can tell that I've finished soldering both the end connectors for the attachments to the end of the cable for the fan. So I'm going to go ahead and heat shrink them. And the heat shrink I use, you can use any type you want. The one I use is one that has glue that actually seals the solder joint connection for more of a weathered protection on it. And what I also tend to do is put a sleeve on it so that there's more of a connector or a connection for the person to grab onto. And I just heat just right up here so that that part's melted. And then this later part, I'll come back later with some hot glue and seal that up. For this particular fan, I'm going to assume that the customer's going to want the majority of the cable. So on your project, if you want more cable or less cable, that's up to you. So I go ahead and start crimping the connectors on the cable. You notice I actually made them extremely long. That's so I can actually fit the crimp through, and also have a little bit sticking out. And what I'm going to do is solder that tip, and the reason why is because redundancy. I'm working in a very hot environment. I did not want my fan to break down on me or stop due to a loose wire. And it's a little extra safety net that I put down for myself. No, it sounds crazy. Maybe you don't want to do it. That's up to you. What am I? I'm not here to judge on people on how to actually solder or anything. That's not my business. This is how I usually do it. And once again, the heat shrink on these crimps for the prongs also have a glue on the inside. When they heat, they'll actually seal as well. So it helps with weathering. And just enough. Just get the tip, very tip part done. There we go. So there's a little bit of feed right there on both of them. Okay, and then what I do here is I heat shrink the whole thing, making sure that one side's red, the other side's black, positive, negative. Small little things I tend to do just to make it easier for the person to see what's going on. I don't want to confuse them, don't want them to mess up a vehicle that's not even theirs or mine. You know, these are vehicles that we use out in the yard. So, and then I will actually put this guy at the end and melt this side right here only, so that when I can come back with glue again, I can fill it up with glue and then seal it out. Alrighty, and now we have the original connector on the end of the cable. We're going to be reusing that, but we're also making this cable have a universal one as well, so it's going to come off and we'll put it onto our cables that we just recently did. Real quick to solder. Go. No, I didn't burn myself. A little bit of new solder. Okay. I'm not going to show you how to make these connectors, since I've already showed you how to do it before. So let's see. Okay. And this is what I was talking about before. Whenever you make a connector that will have power to it, I always make sure it has a female connector to it, so doesn't cause any issues. And what it is just guess estimate how much of the other cable you'll need to cut or slack. So you can get the other connector, the negative side, to solder on. Clean my tip. Not got it yet, just hold it in. Okay. Let's get our closed shut. There we go. Same as before. Enough that it sticks through. Okay. All right. Okay. And I'll go ahead and solder the tops. Okay. Alright, these guys are basically almost done. Just need the hot glue on them. That'll be good. Okay, for the main cable, gotta make the male end connector. Just want to make enough so you can put the heat shrink on there without it melting. So yeah, since I'm going to be covering the plug, put that on there first. Okay. Alright. Cool before you move the heat shrink up. Otherwise, it's going to start shrinking, seal itself. Like it's trying to do right now. If it ever happens, you can try to use a little screwdriver, wedge it up, and that should take care of that part. Alright. Put that right there. And if you don't feel confident, you can always use one of the other ends. Spacer. Okay. And then when we come to the hot glue, we'll finish that up too as well. Now the other end that actually goes into the box. That should be about enough. Make these long for the crimps. Then we'll use circle ones because we're going to be sticking screws through the eyelids so that the device gets dropped or yanked or hit a bump. The cable won't come out of the power box. It'll stay in there, being held on by these guys with screws through their eyelids. Okay. Alright, cable is pretty much done. Now we're going to be moving on to the power box. Okay, we're actually now working directly on the power box. And the exterior part of it, what you're going to be wanting to trim as the excess off of it is, you're going to be making a hole here for both your USB ports. You're going to be making a hole here for your button. You're going to be making another hole here for the speed control. On this side, you're going to be drilling a hole for the power cable to go into. This part will actually be cut off because you don't really need it. And also this part too as well, because it'll just stick out. You don't really need it as well. And you also will have to drill holes in the back to support a fuse, so that when the vehicle or whatever you hook it up to, if there's some kind of electrical issue, it'll pop the fuse instead of melting the harness or doing something damaging to the vehicle. So it's a good idea to actually have a fuse. And if you want to know for sure what I'm talking about the little part right here by the box. That's the fuse cable that you'll be sticking outside of it. It makes it easier so that you don't have to worry about trying to access the fuse by unscrewing the box. You just do it on the outside, and you can also get one that's weather-proof or resistant to the weather. So, on another note, there is some trimming that you will have to do on the inside too as well. If you use this particular style box, that's the weather seal. But you want to remove this post, this one, and you can keep 3 in here. In fact, that's what I used to actually mount different stuff into the box. And so I'm going to go ahead and speed lap it, or actually advance this box. And the next time you see it, I'll have majority all of it done except for one hole, which I'll demonstrate how to find that down to fit a USB port into.